I'm Peyton, and this is Jarred, and this is Kidtalk.
Kidtalk is where we interview people who make games, design games,
And pretty much anyone who likes games.
Yeah. And today we're interviewing Mr. Jamey Stegmaier from Stonemaier Games.
Hi.
So your last name is Stegmaier, but your games are called Stonemaier Games. How did you figure out how to name it that? Like, why did you name it Stonemaier? Stegmaier.
Not Stegmaier. Yeah, my family has asked me that same question. And I have a business partner named Alan Stone. And so when we started the company, when we formed the company, we decided to combine his last name Stone with part of my last name Stegmaier. And that's how we got Stonemaier. How did you guys come up with the name Kidsplaining or Kidtalk?
We're kids and we're explaining how to play games. Kidsplaining.
Good answer.
And Kidtalk is because
we're kids talking.
It's just the only thing we could think of.
So what happens if you do this for 10 years and you're no longer kids? Will you change the name?
Probably, but I don't know to what. We were thinking of like adult-splaining, but I don't think anyone would want to watch adult-splaining.
You would be 20, but I would only be a teenager.
That's true. That's true.
I would be 16, he would be 20.
Yeah, that's right. Do you think you'll still be playing games then?
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely.
How do you think games will change between now and then? Have you seen any changes in the games that you've played? And do you think you'll play different games when you're older than the types of games that you play now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll play different games, but I feel like it's hard for a game to change what a game is.
That's
a game
true.
is always going to be a game.
That's true. Are there some games on your shelf that maybe your parents play now that you're not ready to play, that you hope to play someday, but you're not quite ready to play it yet? Or do you play everything that your parents play?
One of the games is right there, Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah.
Ready to play that, but we don't because we usually play a lot of other games.
Have you played I see some of our games back there, Wingspan and Scythe. Have you played those games?
Yes. The way I taught Peyton to play Scythe,
he did the Automa.
Yeah, Peyton was the Automa, doing what the Automa does, and that's how we learned how to play.
Mm-hmm.
It took us an entire day to play with him actually playing, but he learned how to play.
And then we played, so basically we played 2 times. Because we played that time and then actually played. But
what colors did you play with?
I played blue for Automa because I think that's the only thing Automa can be. And then yellow for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Jarred?
I like playing the tiger.
He was the wolf and then the tiger.
Yeah. I really like the red color, and my favorite animal is a tiger. When did you start creating games?
I was actually probably around Peyton's age when I started designing games.
You were around
just for
6
fun.
or 7?
Yeah, around 6 or 7 years old. Yeah, I had started to play games around that age, and right away I was just. What's that?
You like games a lot?
I do. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I played games like chess. I played a little bit of Monopoly, Risk. Played some Risk.
What's
some
Risk?
Card games. You haven't played Risk yet? No, that's a classic game. It's a take over the world game, conquer the world style of game. That's when I played a lot at that age. And so I was designing games just for fun for most of my life. And then as an adult, I started designing games as part of what would end up being my career in 2011. So around 9 years ago now.
What was the first game you created?
The first game I created and published was a game called Viticulture. I don't see Viticulture behind you, so I don't know if you have that one yet.
No. We only have Wingspan and Scythe.
Okay.
Meyer games.
Scythe I designed in 2014, 2015. It came out in 2016. So that's been around for about 4 years now.
What was your favorite game when you were a kid, and what's your favorite game now?
My favorite game when I was a kid. Well, I'll mention one. I don't know exactly my favorite game, but at that age. But I loved playing a game called Scotland Yard. Have you played Scotland Yard?
No.
It's a game where one player is hidden to the other players. The other players don't know where this player is. And this one player is sneaking around a city, and the other players are trying to find where that player is. And that's what I'm mentioning because I had a great time with it as a kid. And I also, that's one that I still enjoy as an adult. I'd recommend trying that one. That one's a lot of fun. And as an adult, probably my favorite game right now is a game called Clank. It's a deck building game. Have you played Clank?
No.
No. Let me see if you have any deck building games behind. Have you played it? Do you know that mechanism, deck building? Have you played any deck building games?
Yes. Fort is a deck building game.
Fort. Oh yeah, that's a brand new deck building game. You've played that one? What do you think about it?
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Do you have it?
I've watched some reviews about it, but I haven't played it yet. It looks fun.
You should get it.
We reviewed the person who made it.
Oh, really?
Interviewed?
Yeah.
We interviewed the artist.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you feel like you're building a fort when you play it?
The goal is to make the biggest fort. But it's like you bring toys and pizza to your fort, and you want to have the most friends, but like the friends that you don't play with in it, they like go to the edge of the yard. I imagine it like going to like the edge of the street, and then other kids can come by and play with them. And
in the unboxing of that, but I noticed it said discard your yard.
Usually it says discard your card, so I got a little confused.
Oh, yeah.
Because it says discard your yard.
But what I said in it, I said, I don't want to discard our yard. It's really big. Or something like that. What's your favorite type of game? Is in like a card game or a roll and write game? Or like an engine builder?
Engine building is one of my favorite mechanisms. Yeah, I do love engine building. I like worker placement games a lot too.
That's Scythe. Like worker placement and engine building is Scythe, right?
It does have, both of those elements in it, yeah. And when I play shorter games, I really enjoy push your luck games. Games where you need a little bit of luck and you kind of, push your chances at succeeding or failing.
But are most of the games in Stonemaier Games engine builders?
Yeah, one thing I like about games in general is when you feel more powerful at the end of the game than at the beginning of the game. And so that's something that we put into all of our games. I want people to start off feeling okay with what they can do, but by the end of the game, they feel awesome with all the stuff that they've done and all the stuff that they can do at that point. So that idea of progression and engine building ends up in pretty much all of our games. What are some games that you're going to play today or tomorrow or this weekend?
We are probably going to play. I really want to play a Quazu again.
And then
one
I actually want to play is the one we haven't played in a long time. I forgot what it's called.
What type of game is it?
Where is it?
I don't know. It's like I think Japanese game. It's like karate people and
Onitama.
Yeah.
Onitama.
We've already taught that.
Do you play that against your brother or against your parents?
It's a 2-player game only, right. So sometimes me and Peyton pick it out and play it.
There might be a 4-player one.
That would make it really hard.
It wouldn't make it that hard.
It would make it really hard.
But the box would be bigger. I was thinking it would be red player, blue player, green player, and purple player.
So guys, I know games are fun to play, but it's also fun to win sometimes. Peyton, are there any games where even though you're a little younger than Jarred, are there any games that you win when you play against Jarred? Or Jarred, when you play against your dad, games that you win against him?
How about you tell him the game that you are really good at?
Kombio. I usually get like 3 points or 0 points.
You want to get the lowest amount of points.
Oh, okay.
In our last game, I got 2 points. He got none.
Wow. Mm-hmm. What is that game called? I don't think I've heard of that one.
Kombio.
It's not that.
Kombio.
Kombio. Okay.
Yeah.
And what about you, Jarred? What game do you win against when you play against your dad?
I think I've only played this once against my dad. It's Scythe. I won the first time.
You won the first time. Okay.
And actually, I don't care if I win or lose because each way it's still fun.
That's great. I like that attitude. Yeah. That's actually one of the reasons why I like games where you're building something during the game too, because even if you don't win, you still built something pretty cool during the game that you can look down on and be satisfied with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Our mom likes to take pictures of the things that she made and the other players made.
Uh-huh.
What is your favorite thing to do when you're not playing board games?
When I'm not playing board games, I play a lot of board games, and I spend a lot of time working on my job here. But when I'm not playing, let's see. It's a weird answer right now because we're in the midst of this pandemic, and so some of the activities I normally do, I can't do anymore. So one of the things I was really into before the pandemic was indoor rock climbing. Have you ever gone rock climbing on an indoor gym?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what that is? Yeah.
I haven't. I think I didn't make it to the top because I don't really like heights.
I haven't gone, but I'm not afraid of heights. And you need to get used to heights since we do have a treehouse.
Yeah, Peyton, I'm fine with that because it's like really hard for me to fall out the window.
I'm not talking about the window.
I don't like rock climbing because if I slip, I could fall.
Why do they make a concrete floor?
They have ropes that make it so you can't fall, but I'm still scared.
Yeah, it's still a little scary when you get pretty high up there, even though it's pretty hard to get hurt falling from rock climbing. But I was scared too the first few times I tried it, but I've had a lot of fun with it. But it's one of those things that's hard to do in the pandemic. What about you guys? Is there anything?
I probably wouldn't be that scared.
Yeah.
Because I like climbing.
I feel like you would.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you give it a try someday.
I wouldn't be scared.
You would.
I probably wouldn't. Do you like Legos?
I haven't played with Legos for a long time, but as a kid, I loved Legos. Yeah. Yeah.
Was that your favorite toy? Yes, we like Legos.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite toy, it was up there. There was some other toy, I can't remember the name of it, but there were some other toys that were like Legos that I could use to build mechanical things as a kid. I can't remember what they were called, but I've heard that Legos you can do that too now. It's not just there are mechanical elements.
Snap circuits?
That wasn't the one I was thinking of, but I think it's something like that. Yeah.
The only other thing I can think of is Arduino that we have.
Okay.
Was it Connects?
I can't remember the name. They looked like clear. They almost looked like light bulbs, but they were plastic. And from each of the maybe 6 or 8 sides, they had a connector, and you can connect more to them. I can't remember what they were called. Okay.
Yesterday, I got a school game. It is right there.
Uh-huh.
You can't see it, but I think he's about to get it.
Okay. Do you guys play with Legos a lot?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
And do you usually build, when you play with Legos, do you build the thing that's on the box, or do you build your own creations?
We build the thing that's on the box first.
Mm-hmm.
If there's more of it, we build all of it. And then we just put it into our big Lego bucket and build our own thing with all of them.
Okay.
But we used to use Legos to make a prototype for our game.
Oh, you're working on a game?
Mm-hmm. But
what's it about?
It's about Greek, Roman, Egyptian, and Norse mythology.
Okay.
I like mythology, and I read books. It's from Rick Riordan. He makes mythology books that I really like reading.
Yeah, he has a main series of books, right? What's
the Heroes of Olympus.
Yes, yeah. So is it based on that, or is it just inspired by that?
It's inspired by that.
Okay.
I like Greek mythology because in our Minecraft, our old Minecraft, actually, there's a world that is Greek mythology. It's a Greek mythology world.
Oh, wow.
There is the giant snake.
Yeah, it's called, no, I think you're talking about Egyptian mythology. That snake's called Apophis. Yeah. But for that game, I have like a rough draft for the rules and the pieces. and all that stuff. It's not built yet, but do you know what the next step for it would be? Like, I don't have any of the artwork or anything else except like the rules, ideas for the pieces.
Have you played it yet?
No.
You haven't played it
yet? It's not made yet.
Yeah, like I only have ideas.
Okay. And do you have anything you could tell me so I can make my game?
He's answering my question. Do you know what the next step would be for me, though?
Yeah, this kind of answers both of your questions there. I think it's great that you have the ideas and that you've started to write down the rules. I would say the next step would be to use those Legos and use paper pencil to make a very rough prototype and play it. Play it once, play it twice, and get a feel for how it actually plays. I think that's a really key step. Yeah, do you have a question?
So do you play test a game like before it's already built, like before it's like almost finished, or do you do it when you don't have a lot of stuff and you just use like normal things for the pieces so that you don't have to like you finish all the artwork and then you realize and then someone says maybe you should change it, like it would look a lot better differently?
Yeah, so I usually play test with very simple components early on. I don't make a lot of art for the game early on at all because the game might change a lot. And so if I get fancy art and fancy components, the way the game is actually fun might not even apply to that fancy art or those fancy components. So like here's a prototype that I have right now, and it's just basic cards that I printed out with very basic icons on them.
Yeah. So that you don't have to change a bunch that you already did?
Right, yeah, because it could be very expensive then. If you pay an artist a bunch of money to make some beautiful art, and then you can't use any of that art because you changed the game in such a way. Like for example, this game I have right now has a bunch of cards, but if I play tested this game a bunch of times and realized, it doesn't actually need a bunch of cards, it needs a big game board instead, then I would have all this card art that I can't use. So that's part of the playtesting process, to just kind of get a very rough version to play it, see how it actually plays, see what's fun, see what works and what doesn't work, and then try a new version of it and do it again and again and again until it's ready for you to either send it to a publisher, or if you decide you want to publish it yourself, you could go out and find an artist for it.
But does a lot usually change in the playtesting, or just a little bit?
A lot. Yeah, so with Scythe behind you, we play tested that. Not me personally. I play tested it personally many, many times, but there were over 1,000 play tests of the people around the world play tested the rough versions of Scythe to make it better and better and better until it was ready for the published version.
What was it like before? It was just like a bunch of like a normal like war machine, or what? Did it still have robots for the idea?
Scythe started with the theme and the world, but it didn't have the mechanisms themselves were very different early on. In fact, I used that example of cards. Early on, Scythe was a game where you had a bunch of cards and you kind of built a deck with those cards and used those cards to play the game. And from the final version of Scythe, you don't really use, there are cards in the game, but it's not a deck building game. You're not going through a big hand of cards as you play. So that changed a lot.
So it changed from deck builder to engine builder.
It did, yeah. And that's something I wouldn't have known unless I had play tested it a lot.
Do you usually play test with people you don't know or people you know? Because with people you don't know, you can actually get an honest answer. Right. But with people you know, they might like not add in the bad stuff, just the good stuff. Stuff that you really like.
That's a great question. Yeah, usually early on in the playtesting process, I'm changing a lot of things very rapidly, and the game is usually not very fun early on. And so that's when I play with my business partners. I have an employee that plays along with me, and sometimes I bring in some friends who don't mind playing that not fun version of the game. And so a lot of those first playtests are just here behind me in my office here. We play here and we get a feel for the game. But as the game gets more and more fun, that's when I start to send out the prototype to different people around the world so they can give me their feedback as well. And just like you said, they're very honest with me. They're not trying to not hurt my feelings. they're giving me very honest impressions and feedback about the game. So it's a little bit of both. Early on, local, personal, people that you know, friends, family, and then later on, strangers. Yeah.
Do you like games that are long like Scythe, or do most of your games just end up being really long?
For me, the ideal game that we would publish at my company would be around an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour. I think that's a good length for you to play, a game after dinner, or if you have a game night, if you have some friends over, then you can play that game and maybe a few other shorter games. So a little over an hour is the ideal spot for me. What about you guys? Do you have a length of game that you're excited about when you see that a game is 30 minutes on a box or 2 hours on a box?
I like games that are longer because that means I get to do a lot more in them than just a game where you like place down cards and like you each have a few turns.
Tacos versus burritos.
Yeah.
That's not too long.
Yeah, that one's just like 10 minutes because you just place down cards,
like
take cards,
20 minutes.
Put them in your taco or your burrito. Also, I think there are a few games that might be each person sets down a card to get points, and then maybe picks up cards and switches them, and then the game's over.
It's basically like that's like tacos versus burritos. You set down cards and you get points.
I know. I mean, over? Like in one turn. Like it's going at the same time really quick with a sand timer, and then the game's over. Have you decided what the next game after Pendulum that you'll publish will be?
I have, yeah. In fact, I know the next, I think, 5 games that we're going to publish. We plan a couple years ahead because these games take oftentimes many years to design and develop and get ready for publication. So I do not know the next game. I do know the next game. I can't tell you about it, but it's something that we'll probably start talking about in January of next year. We only publish 1 or 2 new games a year.
Yeah, because they take a long time to get ready.
They take a long time to get ready, and because of all the kind of the time and effort that we put into the games, whether I'm the designer or someone else is the designer, we really want to really shine the spotlight on that game for a long time. We want to say this is really important to us. We want to this is something that we want to talk about for a long time, rather than saying, okay, here's a game, and then the next week we have another game, and the next week we have another game.
Yeah, and do you put a lot of time, do you use up a lot of time making a game, or is it just like you make a game and then like you keep working on it how many hours of work did you put into Scythe?
For Scythe, thousands of hours. I would work on it for around 30 hours a week, and it took me about a year before I got it right. So a long time. Some games don't take that long. Sometimes expansions sometimes don't take that long. But for Scythe, it took a long time. I have a game right now that I've been working on for about 4 years, and it will still probably take me another year to finish it. And there's some games that only take me around 6 months or 7 months to get right. But usually they take a long time. And on a daily basis, it really depends. I run a game company, so there are a lot of different things that I do. But ideally, on a good day, I usually spend maybe 2 or 3 hours on game design and development.
But how many hours of work do you put into games that you didn't make, games that you just published for Stone? Yeah,
like Wingspan. Wingspan was designed by someone else. Elizabeth Hargrave designed that game. And pretty similar. Usually when the game is, it depends a little bit. The designer puts a lot of work into it, puts most of the work into it. But there are certain periods where I'll get the game and I'll play test it and offer feedback. And usually on those weeks, I spend between 5 and 10 hours working on the game. But then a few weeks might go where I don't work on the game at all because the designer is working on it.
Yeah. So for Wingspan, did you change any of it, or was it like originally about birds and then you kept it as birds and didn't change much at all?
Originally, it was about birds, and I was excited about that. I thought the designer did a great job of designing a bunch of different. You've seen all the cards in Wingspan. There were 180 cards in it. Every card is unique with a different bird, different mechanisms on it. And from the beginning, that was what the game was about. One of the big things that changed during the development process was the addition of those the big player mat that you play the birds on. That wasn't in the original game at all.
But
it was just cards.
Did you did you mean for it to look like you're opening like a book, like a bird encyclopedia?
That's exactly, yeah. That's what we were going for, yeah.
I think I was the first one who noticed that, though.
Yeah. Good observation.
And then one more thing about Wingspan. Yeah. Did you see that little like funny card with a bunch of mice? It was a cat. The cat Wingspan card. It just like to play it, you had to have a bunch of mice.
You had to have, I think, 9 mice.
10, I think.
Yeah, that was a card that a Wingspan fan made just for fun. It's not a real card, but they made that and shared that.
It would be really funny if it was a real card, but like instead of saying you tucked cards under it, it said instead the brown power the cat eats the card because the cards are birds and cats hunt and cats eat birds.
That's actually one of the reasons that we haven't put any cats in the game, even though everyone at my company has cats, but we don't want to have it a game about eating birds.
Yeah, that would be really funny, though.
We end all of our interviews with a couple of would you rathers. Are
you okay if we ask you some?
Yeah. Give me a few would you rather questions. That'd be
fun. Would you rather wear wet socks all the time or wet underwear all the time?
Would I rather wear wet socks all the time or wet underwear all the time? I'll say wet socks.
It hurts my feet when I wear wet socks, though.
That's true. What about you, Jared? What's yours?
Mine is, would you rather sing every word you speak or always speak in rhymes?
Oh, I'm a terrible singer, so I would go with the rhyme.
I would also mean, like, if you got really good at singing, you would always sing in rhymes.
That's true, yeah. If I did get better at singing, but I think I've only gotten worse at singing. That was fun. Thank you guys for the chat today. This is great.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Thanks.
I hope we can do this again sometime.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I want to hear more about Jared's game as you get that to the table, Jared, and test that a little bit.
Oh,
and Peyton, I want to hear more about your game.
I told you the name of my game.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the name?
It's Ranging Rangers.
No,
Ranging Rangers.
I changed the name.
It used to be Sideways Range.
Sideways Range. Okay. I like Ranging Rangers. That's good.
I made it Sideways Range because it sounds like a rhyme, but it's not.
Thank you for letting us interview you. It was really fun.
I think this might have been the best interview we've done.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Peyton. This is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we get to interview you again soon.
Yeah. We'll have to do that in the future. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Have a good day.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Kidtalk.
It was really fun talking to Mr. Jamey Stegmaier. I can't wait to do it again. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on any future episodes.
See you soon. Bye.